Welcome everybody to Three Kobolds Gaming, where we play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and tonight we continue our Heroes of Absalom campaign.
Yeehaw.
Ooh. Yeah.
Enemies.
I think everybody has collectively let out a sigh of relief after finally getting out of that hellhole of a mega dungeon.
Yeah, there was no guarantee we were gonna finish that ever.
Yeah, I mean,
It was long.
it was
Very
it was
long.
a very large dungeon for the second book of an adventure path, even by
Yeah.
Paizo standards. Outside of the couple of adventures that are explicit mega dungeons, I mean that is a dungeon, and it was very early on. Usually, you don't get to that until book threes, book fours, book fives. But no, you all handled it well. It took a lot of maneuvering, a lot of conniving, a lot of close calls and encounters, a lot of fuck that, I don't want to deal with it.
More than a little bit of that.
But you got there.
Well, quite a bit of that.
Quite a
You
good
got
amount
there.
of that.
And now you all get to enjoy the fruits of your labors. Well, first I wanted to say thank you everybody for joining us a little bit late. We had a schedule conflict, but we're glad to still be able to come out with an episode today. And this is going to be a little bit of a in between kind of session. A little bit of different, trying something new. Gonna really dive into some downtime, but we're gonna see how it goes. Not to belabor the point any further, since we are starting a bit late. Let's just get into it. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Why not?
Let's do it.
As a quick recap, you all have completed Book 2 of Agents of Edgewatch, wherein you all tracked down the Copper Hand, successfully foiling a bank heist where they were attempting to steal valuables. You track the Copper Hand to their hideout, where you basically raid the place, are able to shut down the operation, but Feati Alimur does escape with one of her trusted mages. You are able to gather some information from what you found there about a location in some crypts, some catacombs below the Ascendant Court, where you all go to find the hideout of the murder cult of Skinsaw worshippers, led by the Skinner, appropriately named, as you will eventually find out. You attack the catacombs head on, not once, twice, nay, not even thrice, but in 4 varying excursions. You make your way through the monstrosities, the undead, the construct guardians, into the heart of the cultist's abode, where you descend a good 60, 80, 120 feet in some places under the Ascendant Court, and eventually find a variety of prisoners captured by the cult, as well as the leader, the Skinner. You will gain some information about what is going on here. Once again, you hear reference to the Twilight Four, and some names. The Skinner, the Infector, the Rumormonger, and the Grey Queen. All seemingly titles that may belong to this mysterious Twilight Four. The Skinner tells you that the Grey Queen will make the world anew, and you have no place in it. That Twilight is coming for Absalom. You dispatch with her, however, but not before she ends her own life, her blood mingling with that of countless sacrifices that the cult has made to Norgorber in the final act of some ritual to use this blood for some unknown end. And as she does so, the pools of blood at her feet explode in boiling hot blood, covering everybody in the room, taking Kashak and Shithra unconscious. You are able to quickly bring them back up, but you are now enshrouded in this red haze that hangs over the lower catacombs as the blood that had been gathered seemingly begins to evaporate and exit the area, going towards whatever end this ritual was meant for. You return to the prisoners, one of whom happens, so coincidentally, to be Twinkletoe's mother. You take them to the Temple of Erastil in the Eastgate district, to meet up with your good friend, Johnny Greenfoot, to hopefully help out. And you now find yourselves in the temple. This grand, well, it's not the Grand Lodge, that's a different place, but a hunting lodge dedicated to the god of the hunt, of the wilds, wherein you find Johnny Greenfoot tending to the woman you had brought there prior, the commander of the Greycloaks, whose expedition had so unfortunately failed. And they are beginning to set up a kind of a triage center in the main hall to tend to the prisoners that you all helped escape. You open the front doors of this hall, to see that all of the benches and the pews and the great, feast table in the center have been pulled to the ends of the walls. And you see something you hadn't seen there before. A large hot spring has apparently erupted in the center of this space. And you see many of the prisoners are now submerged in the waters of the hot springs. And it seems to be rejuvenating and revitalizing them as various acolytes of the Erastilian faith tend to their needs. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna go find a sequestered area really quick. And quickly change into my other persona, Eliana Featherglide.
Ooh.
And re-emerged, looking like a different halfling, but like with hints showing through. Like, those who know her and know her well could tell that this might be the same person, but people who don't have any idea could never guess.
Well, they can roll a perception against your deception, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Anyway.
you enter one of these little side rooms off of the main hall. You take about a minute to quickly...
Probably before we enter the building I did this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you hop into like a, little, porta potty or behind a bush or something.
Yeah.
And make this change before making your way up into the temple. Yeah, and you have changed your persona.
So I'm gonna wait a little bit before. I'll either go in before the other guys to find my mom, or I'll wait until after. Probably after.
Okay.
I want the boys.
So Bastro, Oski, Kashak, you enter the temple. You see this hot spring. You see the various wound treatment. What would you all like to do? as you enter this space.
Remind me, what? Like, I know we're here, Twinkletoe's mom, obviously. But why else are we here? Why did we decide to come here?
The other gray cloaks are here, so we need to make sure that they can get back home and check on them.
I think you
And
also wanted to talk to the
we want
prisoners.
we need to sell the verdant staff to Johnny Greenfoot as well. We're gonna give that to him. Prisoners, like the people who were in the dungeon.
I think you guys wanted to talk to them a little more, right?
We could talk to them a little more. We're kind of just like checking in on the work. We kind of just like sent these people here
Sure, yeah, okay.
and made them Johnny's problem, and so like we should probably not do that.
Right, right.
So I think Kashak at least will. I mean, he's probably seen something like this before. Probably not on this scale, but a med bay at some level or another. They're probably setting up like basic infrastructure for that. So he'll probably walk around and see if anybody needs any help with anything, and ask about any assistance he can provide just from being a 6.5 foot tall lizard person.
Yeah, and one of the acolytes nearby just looks at you. Is like, "Oh, yeah, you've been here before. Friend of Johnny's."
Yes.
Yes. Look, I mean, we're a little busy here, but if you want to talk to him, he's recuperating back behind the altar. He just like points to a little door that's behind this altar of Erastil. The far right.
Recoup. What is he doing?
He's taking a rest after he and he just points to the big hot springs in the middle of the room after he did that.
Oh, wow. So Johnny's a talented guy, it seems.
Talented, blessed by Erastil, depends on, your definition, but yeah, he's a nice guy.
Sounds like you're kind of taking out his knees on the credit there. I don't know. That was a bit of a...
I mean, he's a better man than I for just, didn't ask any questions. He just saw 14 people walk into the door with all kinds of messed up injuries. Just started doing his thing. All right, I was a bit taken aback. All right, I'm feeling a little guilty for my lack of ability to cope with this. I ain't never seen anything like this. So yeah, I'm a little miffed right now, but I'm trying to do my best. All right, just if you want to talk to Johnny, go talk to Johnny. I got stuff to do. And he like hobbles off with an arm full of bandages that just start like a couple of them fall off the side and start just like unrolling on the floor. It's like, God damn it.
Kashak has no way of understanding how frustrated this guy is with him, and so he's just gonna shrug his shoulders, and he's got the staff in hand, and he's gonna walk to where Johnny Greenfoot is.
You can tell he's like been very quickly aroused to very like intense work that he was not expecting or prepared for, and he's just trying to like sort through it.
Yeah, would anybody come with me to Johnny Greenfoot, or are you guys doing your own thing?
Bastard would definitely come.
Yeah.
To see JGF.
Yeah, so you make your way to the aforementioned door. It's like partially ajar, and you just can see there's like just incense, smoke wafting out. You get that like whiff of incense as you're approaching it, with like a low glow coming from beyond.
Is he in there?
Yeah, you walk up to the door, open it, and you see Johnny sitting at a desk, and he's got this, like, stag skull, like a mini shrine on his desk that he is just, like, he's got his head in his hands, he's just, like, rubbing his temples as he's got this stag skull with just, like, candles and incense alight around him, and he just hearing the door open, he looks up and he says, I wondered if this had anything to do with you guys.
Yes, I think of course it does.
It always does, doesn't it?
We had nowhere else to send them, Johnny. I do apologize.
And you just see like beads of sweat on his forehead. It seems like he's used a lot of energy very recently, put out quite a few spell slots in a short period of time. And is trying to refocus, but we'll put that aside for you all to converse with him. Yeah, would you mind just giving me a quick explanation? I feel like that'd be nice. Maybe help figure out what's going on here. I tried talking to them, but a lot of them seem pretty out of it.
The Temple of Aridin had been taken over. We had been exploring. I think we mentioned that, right, Pastor? He knows. Yeah, we know about that. Yeah.
The crypts under the Ascendant Court. Yeah.
They were overrun with these people. You, I'm sure, saw the Grey Cloaks who came in first, and then the 15-ish people came behind. They were prisoners of the Skinsaw cult, so needed attention. Needed a place to go that was far enough away that they'd be away from the danger.
Yeah.
Grey Cloaks can't exactly be relied upon based on our experiences with them.
Well,
not the most effective group of people.
To their credit, they did offer to recoup any financial pressure that this put on the temple. So credit where credit is due. They're trying their best. With what they got, I suppose. But yeah, it seems fortunate that you all were there for these people. So thank you. By the looks of some of them, they weren't gonna make it much longer. So you did good. And I appreciate that. I'm sorry if I'm a little flustered right now. It's been a long day. The last hour has been a long day. Please. And he stands up and starts walking towards the door. And he steps out and just looks out over the hall. He says, "What is the plan here? I mean, I will do my best." With the help of some of the other clerics to help these people, but what's the plan for them after they've been healed?
Well, the Grey Cloaks will have to report back for duty. They know where they're supposed to be going.
Right.
Some of the prisoners, we are actually aware of who they are. Others we need to still understand a bit more. So once they're conscious and able to be speaking, we imagine most of them are from Absalom, so we could just facilitate getting them home safely.
Okay. Sure. Well, if you don't need them for anything, I'll just do what I can to send them on their way when they're ambulatory, when they're healed. Did you need anything from them, or did you need anything from me while you're here?
We found this staff that we figured might be useful for you. And he pulls out the verdant staff, all of its gemmy glory.
I also just love the image of pulling large objects from a small bag on your side.
It just
You just reach in, grab a gem the size of a football, and start pulling it out of the bag, and 6 feet of staff later.
I have to hand it to him to receive, so he's got one end, and I'm still pulling the rest of it. I think we're walking it out of the bag.
And he's holding it, and he's my goodness.
Will you stand at the back of a little bit, please?
You got to back? Can you back up a little? Yeah, that's good. That's great. Thanks.
It's my goodness. This is beautiful. I mean, I've never seen staff quite like it. And you can see he's detecting magic on it, and he's, recalling potentially any knowledge he might have about it. He's attempting to identify what it is. And he says,
"It's called a verdant staff," they tell us. And Bastra, maybe you can speak more to all this hoo-ha.
Yes.
Verdant, yeah. Based right off the top of my head, I obviously know exactly what a verdant staff does. Oh yes, of course. This oak branch grows leaves in spring that change color in autumn and shed in winter. Also, it just so happens to give you a bonus check to knowing about nature stuff. If you understand what bonus check means, it's more of a adventure slang. It also lets you cast certain spells. You know, this one so happens lets you cast Tanglefoot, Shillelagh,
Shillelagh.
that's what I said, Shillelagh, and also some awesome second level spells, which I'll let you figure that one out.
This is my Basro. Your knowledge of the magical never ceases to amaze me. I mean, it's almost as if you were just reading that off from memory.
That's just the kind of guy I am, you know.
Obviously. Well, this will make a fine donation to the church, and we appreciate your offerings.
A donation.
That is what you were just gonna give this to us, right, for helping you out with these people.
Kashak, I don't know what.
Johnny, with an item of and Kashak's got his hands like this. He's just throwing like that. Johnny Greatfoot, I understand that you're a busy man and you've done a lot of good for us already, but you know we have a credit that we paid for your spell slots, and we think it's in good faith that we continue a economic
Yes, of
transactions
course.
here. Half price, of course. We only need 112 gold and 5 silver, but that's all we're gonna charge you for it.
And 5 silver.
And 5 silver.
And he just sighs, and he's like, give me one moment. And you see that he like goes back into his office. He like rummages in a desk, pulls out a key, unlocks a drawer, pulls out a little box, sets it on the table, same key ring, unlocks it, flips it open. He's just like rummaging through it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then he closes the box, puts it under his arm. He starts going around to the various acolytes.
I refuse to feel guilty about this. I absolutely refuse.
And he just like starts whispering in the ears of various like clerics that are helping him out. And you see some of them start like dejectedly rummaging in their pockets and pulling out various coins. You see that he goes over to one of the clerks who works at the front desk, and she like pulls out, you know, that little tray that would be for a keyboard, except it just holds like extra parchment. She like pulls up the parchment, grabs a few loose coins, and eventually he comes back and he says, I've got 105 gold, and you are literally clearing me out. But this is the best I can do.
Johnny, I mean, I guess it's mostly just about how much this staff is worth to you. You know, I don't know if that's really. That's insane.
You are more than welcome to walk away right now, and I will keep my money, the church's
You're gonna
money,
let a staff
his
like
money,
this just leave
her
the
money,
table in front of you?
their money.
Yeah.
I will keep all of it, and you can go sell it elsewhere.
We of course take the 105 gold.
I tried.
Everyone-
I
Can it
really
be?
did.
Can it be 108 gold for ease of math, dividing that by 4?
104. Done.
Oh, shouldn't have said that.
So we take 3 gold away that we earned previously, just for bookkeeping.
Wait, what?
The 263 that I told you off stream included 112 for the
Oh,
staff.
that included the staff. Okay, so reduce our current gold by 3.
Since we're getting shorted on the staff, we need to account for that in the books. You know, write off some professional courtesy in the ledger. Yeah.
If you are going to continue to build this relationship, it is a church. And that is a big purchase. He does want it,
Mhm.
and it will serve the temple, but it's a lot of money.
Johnny, these might also help ease your mind a little bit. And he goes back into his own bag, not the bag of holding, and he pulls out the 2 sleep arrows he's been carrying around, the 2 viper arrows, and the 4 unknown potted plants, and the 1 fire fumort. He's kind of unloading this stuff onto his desk. Now you see you have a couple of magical arrows here that are, you know, perhaps a bit lower of energy than we would need against the kind of things that we're fighting. And I don't know, these plants just look nice. They could be a good decoration for the office or something.
No, just to be clear, I did just give you literally all of the coin in the temple.
Well, and it's really about how much these arrows and these plants are worth to you, Johnny. I don't know. He's intending to fully give it away. He is saying, like,
I just wanted to.
these are for me. I was, I have no more use of them. I figured that your hunters could use them in some situations.
Yes.
And again, the plants
Yes.
just look really nice. So please take them on from us, and as a thank you for taking these people in.
Just like this audible, or like this visible, just like weight drops off the shoulders. He's like, okay, I was getting mixed messages there for.
No,
For a moment.
I love this bit, but we need to make sure that this relationship is clean. So he from the beginning was like, please take these. I don't want
Okay,
money.
all right,
They're for him.
Yes, no, and he like takes the arrows, and there's a quiver that's like hanging up with a long bow, on like a rack behind his desk, and he puts them in, and he takes the plants and he starts just putting them around, and he takes one out and puts it on. He takes the femort, places it on the desk of the clerk that he took the money from. He says, "Sorry, here," and like puts it on her desk, and he just places them around. He says, "Thank you. It is actually a very nice gesture. I do appreciate that."
Of course, for all your help with it, you've been for us. That's from me.
While you're here, did you all have any ailments that you needed cured? I do still have a few spells left for the day. You all look
Please.
hale and hearty, of course, but I just
Please
wanted-
direct your efforts to the prisoners and people we can get out of your hair first. We have actually taken care of our own problems, so thank you.
Very, very good. Well, right now I'm letting them rest in the hot springs, and we'll see how they're doing after about an hour in there. They should heal approximately.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? That wasn't here. Did you guys have like contractors come in or something?
That's a spell. After about an hour of rest in there, they should theoretically heal about 10d8 hit points and lose any fatigue condition that they might have. Yes.
Master, can you make I like a good steam. You know me. I'm a guy who likes some good water.
Please, no. If you want to take a dip, as it were, by all means.
Well, I
free,
don't want
free
to
of
take
charge.
someone's spot that they're healing, but if like something opens up, then
Wait.
Are there people in the spring right now, or is it empty?
Yes. So you see that 8 of the 10 prisoners are in there, including Jinbi and Sierra, Featherglide.
Does it fit max 8 people?
I'm looking that up right now.
Can you just say no?
Do you not want to go in?
No, I do. That's why I don't want it to only fit.
I really want to go in too. Obviously. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm looking that up right now. I don't think.
Because if it fits more than that, then Oski, like y'all look over and Oski is in there, like talking to some of the people. Like he's taking off his armor, like going in for a full soak. In
Yeah, because Shock's like trying to be polite. He's like, "Well, I don't want to take someone's hand. Oski's already in the pool. All right, okay."
Yeah. So the spell Soothing Springs. It's really cool. It is a 20 by 20 hot springs. 16 medium.
Oh, that can easily fit more
Yeah,
than
16 medium or smaller creatures. Yeah, so you're good. There's plenty of space.
Oski is in the spring.
It's comfortably hot, though it does smell mildly sulfurous, but not in an unpleasant way. It's just that like pseudo medicinal way where you like you get that almost like that hit at the back of your nostrils where you can tell like this is, potent.
That's awesome.
You get in and it's like this it's like a mineral rich, divinely resonant water. There's like very fine gravel at the bottom, so it doesn't like hurt your feet, but it almost like if you rub your feet on the bottom. You get that like kind of pseudo
Exfoliating.
yeah, exfoliating slash foot rub vibe off of it. There's like you can see there's like one section of the wall. There's just like this pit of like mud that people are like doing the mud masks on their faces and on their arms. It's really really nice. You get this like nice steam even if you're not sitting in it. This nice steam, warm. Honestly, probably very very inviting space compared to the damp, moldy, mildewy, cold underground that you've been in. This is like a very warm, inviting, rich space. So you all are able to join in on the festivities. If you spend an hour, like I said, you'll get 10d8 hit points back and lose any fatigue conditions you have.
Can we rewind a tiny little bit?
Sure.
All right. So outside, I'm like just finished getting switched into my other look, and I'm like pacing a little bit. I'm nervous. I've seen my mom, but she didn't recognize me in that outfit. So it's been 6 years since she's seen me, or longer than that. I don't remember. I've got to check my backstory. But anyway, it's been a while.
It's been like 6 years and 4 months, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, I enter and I find this guy who's like hunched over picking up a bunch of rolls of bandages and looks he
Quite
looks sort of
disheveled.
like he knows what he's doing. He looks busy, so I go up to him and I say, excuse me, is there another halfling woman here who looks sort of like me but older?
And he like finishes picking up the last 2 bandages that he dropped, and as he does so, he's like standing up. One more falls off the pile that's in his arm. He's like, God.
I catch it, and
Good,
pass it
good
back to
catch.
him.
Good catch. You like put it on the top of the stack, and he's like, he then looks at you, and he's like, halfling woman looks like you, and he's looking down, and he's like an average sized human man, so like 2.5 feet taller than you. And he looks down, and he tries not to squat, but he like squats a little bit.
I backed up a bit just to give him a.
He's like, well, there was another halfling. You do sort
Where?
of. And he just like turns his arms and like torso, like gestures with an elbow, and you look over to where he's gesturing to this hot spring that is in the middle of the temple that was not there when you were here 8 hours ago, whenever you checked in before descending to fight the Skinner. And there's 8 people. You see Oski on the edge, who is currently doffing his armor. I always forget the
Which
option
I'd
of
like to
donning.
put a pin in what Oski's doing just at some point in the future. Just put a pin in that.
Oh, are you not getting into the hot springs?
No, he is. But
Okay,
there's
yeah.
a thing I want to do, but I don't want to interrupt the scene
Fair enough.
that EG's about
You
to
see
have.
Oski over in the corner doing something weird, and you follow the elbow down to the floor level where the hot spring is submerged 5 feet further deep, and there's a ring of seats around the side, and you see your mother in bathing suit seated there
Nice.
with like in the water up to just above her lip, and you just see like bubbles blowing in front of her face as her black hair just kind of waves around her shoulders and her head
Mermaid.
in the water, and you can tell that she is she's content. You can just see this like relief on her face. Her eyes are closed. You're seeing her from profile, so her eyes are closed. She's like not paying attention to what's going on around her. She is just enjoying this moment of peace, of comfort, of warmth. Something that you would assume she has been bereft of for who knows how long.
I start towards her really fast, tripping on the guy's shoe a little bit, but catching myself.
4 more
and
bandages fall off the pile as you bump into him.
I do not catch those. But I say, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And then I walk, careful not to slip on any of the water from the hot springs, and approach my mom.
Yeah, so you make your way up to her. There are around the edge of the hot springs, there are a number of attendants of clerics. You see 3 other full-on clerics of Erastil who are like making rounds around the edge, like tapping people on the shoulder, checking in with them. But you get up behind your mother again. She's just sitting there. You see occasionally just bubbles burbling in front of her face, but she just seems to be chilling.
Zoned out.
She's just chilling.
I'm not trying to like sneak up behind her, but I approach and clear my throat a little bit and see if she turns around.
She doesn't. It seems that she is making an effort to zone out
Yeah.
the surrounding noise, the hustle and bustle, because despite this calming waters, there's still a lot of energy, a lot of motion in this room that might be not distressing, but aren't necessarily conducive. So she's just you clear your throat, and then you see another round of bubbles just start up in front of her face.
I just have to, guess who? No.
She screams.
Maybe the worst thing to do right about now, yeah.
But I from a few feet away just say her name. I just say Sierra.
And the bubbles stop, and you see her like sit up a little bit into the chair and like pull her hair to the side, kind of get it under control out of her face, and then she turns around and looks at you, and there it is. She finally rolls high enough to recognize you. And you see...
I'm in disguise, but, you know. Okay.
She recognizes Eliana.
Fair enough.
She doesn't recognize your insane deception DC for your costume, but the color, the warmth, and redness in her face from the heat of the spring just begins to drain as her face goes white, her eyes go wide, and you just see her like reach an arm out over the edge of the spring, and she like touches your foot, and then she like grabs your foot as she's looking up at your face, and then her brows scrunch, and you just watch as a tear begins to roll down her cheek.
Like, I thought that they were a little more elevated. I thought she was more my eye level, but I'm like down.
Oh no,
on
no. The spring is in the ground,
Yeah.
in the floor of the.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I was picturing like the hot tub like on top.
No,
but
no.
Or the above ground pool.
Yeah, no. It is in the floor of the temple.
Yeah. I'm understanding now. I am now just like kneeling down next to the floor, and I like, if she'll let me, I pull her into a hug.
Yeah, she like awkwardly gets up on her knees, and she's soaking wet, but the wet arms just around your like waist as you're kind of bending over to try to get a hug on her. She just says, Eliana, it's been so long. You're safe. You're okay. Oh, I don't know what to say. It's so good to see you, Eliana. Oh, Eliana, and she just hugs you. You can feel like the loss in like muscle definition. You can see and feel that she's like pretty scrawny, making her small form even smaller as she wraps around you. But yeah, she's just saying your name over and over. Eliana. Oh, it's really you, Eliana.
Mom, I'm so sorry. I wasn't here.
No. I'm just glad you're safe. I know. Well, after what she was saying, I was worried that you were in danger. But no, you're okay. You're here. You're okay. You're all right. Oh, I'm so glad to see you again. I'm so worried.
Well, can I take you home? When you're ready to go, will you come home with me?
Eliana, our home was sold a long time ago.
I have another place now.
You do?
Yeah.
In Absalom?
Yeah.
Yes. As soon as we can. And like you see that she's starting to try to like stand up out of the water, and like her foot slips on the edge of the seats as she's trying to like stand up.
I catch her, and then like probably I tumble into the water with her a little bit, like trying to make sure she's good.
And there's just huge splash as two halflings just plummet into the 5-foot waters. Both of them just start paddling up because they can't touch the bottom of the 5-foot pool. And you make your way over to the edge, and now you are wearing is it the dress that you're wearing?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're
yeah.
wearing this like is it mid shin, or is it actually floor length?
It's actually floor length. It's
Okay.
got a big bustle skirt, so this is a mess. There's
Yeah.
like metal cage under this skirt, like
your
that she just
entire
up.
situation is just
Right.
soaked through. You immediately feel the weight of an extra 20 pounds of water on you, but you're able to grab the
I
edge.
only weigh 35 pounds.
Yeah. So you weigh 55 pounds right now, 20 of which is wet clothing.
And you're swimming, so you're drowning, is what I'm hearing. You're currently drowning.
Come stable.
One of my friends needs to come and rescue me from.
maybe the aquatic creature can go save her. No,
Oski's right there. If there's a commotion, he can do something. But
yeah, I mean you.
And here we go.
Anyone who is, I'm assuming all three of you are still in the main hall. You're seeing this, and maybe you had like seen the interaction begin, and you saw the embrace, and then you just watch as Sierra tries to step up, slips, Twinkle Toes grabs her, but the impetus
Not
just
Twinkle Toes.
who you all tend to call Twinkle Toes.
I don't know if Oski and Kashak have ever seen her like this, so they would both.
I
need
don't think
to roll
so.
Perception
Yeah, I don't think
checks to
so.
see if they recognize her right away. They'll probably
Sure.
get it from context clues in a little bit. But
Kashak and Oski, roll me perception checks. And what is your deception DC?
my deception DC
For your disguise specifically?
is 29.
20.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
Oski has no idea. It's a regular failure for Oski.
Kashak failed too.
Yeah, so you both see this halfling girl in a floor-length full dress, bustle, all of that. walk up to one of the prisoners. They embrace, and then they both tumble into the water. And
Oh no, she's hot.
Okay, sorry. It's not 29, it's 39.
Oh, then I crit fail.
Oh, it can't be 39. There's no way.
No, wait, there's no way. You have a plus
20
29?
plus my proficiency modifier.
Yeah, it's against your deception DC. You have a 29?
No, I have a 19. It's
Oh,
20
your
plus
deception
my-
against such attempts is 20 plus your proficiency mod. Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, vigilantes.
Oh my
Wow.
Your deception
That's
DC
crazy.
against attempts to
Holy crap.
identify you.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And she doesn't have to roll a deception check to conceal her identity. It's just automatic.
Proficiency modifier just means your proficiency, though, not
Oh,
everything
that's
else.
true. Yeah, it's 20 plus your proficiency mod. So whatever your plus
So you're probably a master in deception, so probably
So it's-
Oh,
15.
just like without my charisma?
without the
Yeah.
charisma.
Okay, so it's 35 then.
Still.
That's doable for Kashak. That's doable. I also crit failed, but
Wonderful. So you see this definitely not Twinkle Toes halfling woman walk up to. In fact, there's no way it possibly could be Twinkle Toes. You're pretty sure she went home.
Yeah, so Oski like swims over to this commotion and will like lift the two, like one in each hand, essentially go, "Oh, there you go, young lasses. Be safe now. Let the springs do the work for you. You don't no need to go tussling about."
And Oski
Thank
lifts you.
you, big, strong, handsome man.
Oh, you are much too kind there.
And you're now both seated on the edge, not fully in, but not out of the spring. Eliana, you are just dripping onto the stone floor. One of the attendants comes by and offers you both some towels, and like wraps them around your torsos. They've been like heated. It's like a warm towel, almost like a spa towel, that they like wrap around you. And then a blanket.
It's like a normal person's just like neck towel, but for
Yeah.
me it's like
It's
full
a
towel.
washcloth, but it covers your entire torso.
it works. Yeah.
And you're now seated. Sierra kind of like raises a hand, and one of the clerks comes over. Would you mind just something to eat, something to drink, please? And they nod. They head on back. And they bring back a tray. It's got like a few slices of cheese, a crust of bread, an apple, and they offer it to you both. Then a pitcher of water is brought over and some cups for you, and you're sitting there with a nice little snack as Sierra just begins to demolish the bread.
I don't eat any of it, though I like make it look like maybe I am, so
Yeah.
that like feels like we're splitting it, but
Mhm.
it's all hers. Like
And you see that she like rips the bread in half and then places it over like on your side of the plate, and then finishes hers, and then she rips the half in half, places half of it on your side of the plate, and then finishes her second
before
quarter.
she like noticed, I like accidentally like knocked it over to her side of the plate, and then just like so that like she didn't notice that like we had, like finished hers.
And you're just
We're
like sitting next to there, and she's like, make sure you have something to eat. You want to keep your strength up. And like in 5 minutes, this entire plate the size of her head is now just gone.
Good.
And
I make sure Oski didn't take any of that.
The second he made sure you were safe, he swam back over to continue doing what he was. We'll get to what he was doing in a moment.
you see large tentacles emerge out of Oski's face and then wraps around the apple, and
Good.
Old Davy Jones.
Cthulhu emerges from the water.
2 temporary hit points from hitting the apple.
Nice. Putting it
Yeah,
on my
and
sheet.
so the plate empties, and she just sits there. She looks down at the plate, puts it off to the side, and then just leans against you, putting her head on your shoulder. She just says, I want to go home. I want to spend some time with you to make up the time we lost, but your father, I'm sorry, I don't know how he's doing. I haven't seen him in some time. I'm not sure how much. I lost track, but I don't know how he is. I don't know if he's okay.
We'll find him. Relax for now, Mom. We'll talk about it more once we're home.
Okay. And she kind of slides the towel off and then just slides back into the spring, and just leans against the dress on your leg, and it's just sitting there, and eventually she just ducks her head back under a little bit.
I'm just stroking her hair,
and the bubbles start again.
Yeah.
Oski?
So, Oski walks in with Bastro and Kashak, but doesn't go to Johnny Greenfoot. I think he sort of, when he first walks in, gets the sense that this is a busy place and people might need help. So I think the first thing he does is goes around and checks to see if any additional healing is needed, and maybe we'll cast off both of his stored focus points in people, but then he'll quickly realize that, oh, this spring is doing most of the work, and I don't really need to waste my efforts here when there's already this wonderful spring, which there are 8 people in. So I think what he decides to do is, instead of healing bodies, he wants to heal hearts and minds. So he gets into the pool.
What is this?
Well, he gets into the pool and decides the best thing he can do is just try and lift people's spirits a little bit to the best of his ability. So he gets up and basically just starts trying to entertain people, for lack of a better word. So after Kashak and Bastro walk off, and Oski's chatting with some of the people just sort of aimlessly, but then he starts collecting a couple of them together, and we maybe cut to him partway through this story, and he says, "So there we were, Tiresias, this giant ooze monster, slamming about inside of the temple, swinging her arm, bringing her forward, and we have arrows flying every which way, spells being cast left, spells being cast right, twinkle toes dancing around every which way she can go, and I glance a blow this way and that, and I say to the beast before us, I call down the might of Masluta and say, don't hit someone her size, fight someone your own. And I'm there, and we're toe to toe. He's just sort of, I think, trying to be boisterous and loud and silly, and just try to at one point, when he is showing the shield block, he will splash water up in the air and splash a couple of the people to his right with the water, and maybe when he's showing a hit of Tiresias, he'll be and I tried to dive in front of one on Bastro, but I couldn't, and it hit me, and he'll fall back into the water and do this great dramatic belly flop, and he's just trying to be silly and get people to laugh and have fun, and put on a show.
Roll a performance for me.
Can I get any circumstance bonus from that?
Sure.
Imagine.
Don't worry about it. Just roll your performance and tell me what you get.
Okay. It's a good roll on the die. 18 total.
Okay. Another question for you.
Okay.
You're in the spring itself, right?
I am in the spring. He's doing this for however many of the 8 you mentioned were in the spring are right there.
And you've taken off your armor and your shirt?
Oh yeah. He basically just has a loincloth on. That's it.
And Kashak, Bastro and Eliana.
And so the
See-
tattoo is fully
Yes.
exposed.
And I don't remember if you showed them last time,
Oh, I actually don't know if I did now that you mentioned that.
but you all see as he's telling this story, emblazoned on his chest is a pitch black tattoo.
Scar, like tattoo
Like,
that's sort of like scarred.
Scarred, like like a scarred in, like carved. It seems to be a plate holding several eggs, and out of one of the eggs is a worm that has hatched with this great ringed toothed mouth.
Seen that symbol before. I don't know if the characters have. We've heard of that. Yeah, that's the symbol. That
Yeah.
is very big for you.
And
Yeah.
if you stare at the
Also,
if you
Oh, go ahead,
stare
I'm
at the tattoo too long, it almost like draws your eyes in, and you can swear that the worm is just wriggling. Its mouth is like chomping at the air around it.
Shire Halud.
Oski's also covered in scars. Like his entire torso and midsection is insanely scarred. So the tattoo stands out because it's tattooed, not because it's scarred.
And you
There are scarring marks around the tattoo, but that's sort of the case for most of his midsection.
It just looks like somebody won like 8 passes over those lines. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
well, it's almost like
That's
somebody went over a tattoo with a knife.
yeah,
awful.
for that specific section.
Yeah. You draw a crowd of like attendants of clerics, and as you're jumping around, you just hear "oh ah" and then like claps when you're talking about the hits, and you describe the fall of Tiresias, whose name you don't actually know in character.
Ooze beast is what he refers to.
The foul abomination, and just applause go up, and yeah, I mean, you see that like the faces of the former prisoners around you, they're like enraptured in your story. They just brighten up. They show so much energy. They show so much like excitement. Life begins to return to their face. Emotion begins to return to their faces as you're telling this story. A lot of them just seem to be like staring off in the distance when you start the story, but as you get farther into it, you're retelling it. Like they begin to get involved. They begin to invest in your words, and you see them begin to come back to life. You see emotion on their face again, and you bring a warmth to these people who seem to have been in darkness, a light to the darkness they've experienced in recent memory. And the orc man, who was at one point yelling at Kashak, begging Kashak to get him out, like after you finish your story, like wades his way over to you, and he says, "Oski, right? Oski? That's your name?" Most muted orc I've ever met.
Thank you. He's just like has swam back from lifting 2 halflings out of the water
Yeah.
and placing them neatly on the edge, and he says, "Yes, I am Oski. Yes, that is
Oski.
correct."
I can't repay you enough for what you've done for me. Surely, had I been there even a few more hours, Oski, they would have killed me. They would have drained my blood. They would have hung me on those hooks. But you and your friends, you have done more for me than I could have ever asked for. You've given me a chance to live again. You've erased my debts. You've saved me. You are my salvation, Oski, and I need to tell you. I need to tell you because I don't know what your plans are, but but I do know that this cult, it's still out there. They still have minions. See, I used to before they got me. I used to live in. I worked in the docks, and I'm not the best person. I'm not a good guy. I'm no champion. I had a bit of a problem with gambling and money, and I owed a lot of money. I owed a lot of money to this casino, and well, they sent a gang after me. Some guys, called the washboard dogs, and they picked me up, and apparently the washboard dogs, they used to, well, before you came in and destroyed the cult, they worked with the Skinner. See, because a lot of folks, and he like points to two of the other prisoners. See, a lot of the folks, and a lot more that died, they were picked up by the washboard dogs and brought by the washboard dogs to the cult, and the cult would the Skinner would give them stuff, the things that they got from us, that they got from some other gangs, give it to the washboard dogs, and then the washboard dogs would come back with cash. Like they were using the washboard dogs to launder the money. They would trade us for things that they'd sell for money and then give some of the cash back. I'm telling you, it's still happening. Even if it's not for the Skinner. The washboard dogs, man.
Friend, what is your name?
Jimby.
Right, Jimby. Yes, of course. Jimby, thank you very much for any information. I can tell you, my friends and I, we are not done with this. Any connection with this Skinner must be rooted out and ended. But for now, Jimby, I implore you to rest.
Oh no, no. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Don't worry. I'm just glad you came back. I knew as soon as we got here. That I needed to tell you, because.
Sense motive.
Are you privy to this conversation? Roll me a perception check.
He just scooped me up and put me on the side, and this guy approached. So
Roll
I'm
me a
assuming
perception check as you are busy with your mother.
I did say I swam like back. I assumed these were separate conversations.
Because in my mind, this is happening at the same time that you are quote unquote sharing a meal with your mom.
Okay. Well, my perception was a 33.
Okay. So you are catching bits and pieces of this conversation. Go ahead and roll me another perception to sense motive.
That's technically a secret check if you wanted to play it that way.
Yes. But I am going to give you a negative modifier because you are also interacting with your mother, and your mom is like talking to you at the same time. So you're trying to do that like dual track mind thing where you're listening to two conversations at once. What is your perception modifier?
Plus 14.
Plus 14. Okay.
I rolled a natty 15 on the last one.
So you you would think that it would be pretty hard for these people. You saw the condition that Jimby was in the prison. Like, he was literally risking his life to beg Kashak to take him away. Like, getting more and more animated. He was risking his life, the other prisoner's life, your lives, by getting so animated. He was desperate to leave. And as you're listening to them, you think that desperation turned into gratitude. So the same level of desperation he had to leave transferred to his gratitude towards your group for getting him out. So you would think that this is a man who had resigned himself to death, and not only death, but like constant pain and torture, considering the case that he was in, the situation that he was in, that he feels like he needs to try to repay, and so he's just trying to tell anything that he knows to Oski, a fellow orc, to do something with that information. And so it just generally seems like he's trying to repay some kind of perceived debt.
Cool.
And he
Oski
said,
will.
yeah, and he says that he's like, I just knew when we got here, when we got out, that I don't know if it's helpful. I don't know if you even want to deal with them anymore, because I don't want to deal with them anymore. But you seem like
Oski will
heroes.
put a comforting hand on Jimby's shoulder and say, "Friend, you do not have to deal with them anymore. Here is what I will tell you, a parable briefly, if you will. At Masluda's table, you see, when we sit in a big circle, I will spoon out the food for the person to my right, and they will do the same for their right, and so on and so forth. We all do something for the next person until it gets back to us, right? My friend saved me from a similar fate that you were in. Pay it forward, in other words. Now, I'm not saying you need to go disrupt an entire murder
Run
cult.
into catacombs.
No.
Cultist prisoners.
Form an adventuring party of the group here. Go on a quest. We all heard it. Yeah.
I will endeavor to train to
me
be the
finish.
strongest man alive, so I can save other prisoners of war.
Take the test of the Starstone immediately.
He jumps out of the water and begins running to the Ascending Court.
You do not need to do something of equal value, just something. You see someone in need on the street, help them out. Help out your fellows here in Absalom.
Next time I'm going to drive through, I'm going to pay for the person behind me.
If that speaks to you, however, there are certain assumptions about class that play into that, and you don't really need to get into that. So.
You really
Keep
should
it
just
cute,
pick the
yeah.
worker instead, because the person who was behind you was already planning on paying for their meal, and the. Sorry.
Find someone truly in need, in other words, is what the voices from the heavens are saying. And pay it forward, and Masluda will open up a seat at her table to all.
Masluda. Okay. Yeah. Find a seat at Masluda's table. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, just, like I said, this gang on the dock, the washboard dogs, I think you should look into them. They're definitely connected to this. They were laundering money.
I will inform my fellow party members, and we will put it on our to-do list, fear not.
And he, just kind of gives you a nod, and you can see that he's, mulling over the things that you've said. And he, paddles away, slowly paddles away to the other side, and, sidles over to one of the other prisoners, and you just kind of overhear. So, have you heard of Masluda? And that's where we're gonna take a quick 8-minute break. We'll be right back here at 9:20 Eastern Standard for your entertainment. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be right back in 7 minutes.
See y'all soon.
Welcome back, everybody. So, you all continue your rest and recoup in the Temple of Erastil. As the night goes on, more and more of the injured are assisted to various sleeping arrangements. Johnny assures you that they will all be taken care of, but that most of them would probably need, outside of their physical wounds, a few days of mental recuperation and work with some of the clerics to begin to overcome, not fully, obviously, because they have suffered a great deal, but to begin to reintegrate with society or get back to some condition to be able to get back to their lives. It's going to take a number of days, some more so than others, but that the Temple of Erastil, with the support of the Grey Cloaks, will be doing everything they can to help these people get back to their lives. Eliana, if you ask about Sierra, Johnny just says that he would prefer to be able to look after her for a couple of days, just to be sure that she'll be all right. But that if she wants to, and she's willing, she can leave when she feels ready. And Sierra, she looks at you as you're having this conversation, just says, I think I might want to spend another day or two here, but I would love to get back to where you're staying. I just need a little bit of time, and I want to spend some time here in the temple. And you can tell that she's she is saying this with like a reverence to Erastil that you weren't aware of when you when you were living with her, but that she seems to have taken up in a pretty short time. She's like, whether out of respect for what they've done or something else, you can tell that she's beginning to feel some connection there with Erastil in the time that she's spent. And she says, I think I would like to spend another day or two, but please come back soon, and we can talk a little bit more. But I think I need to get some rest. And one of the clerks at Johnny's summons takes her to one of the sleeping rooms off of the Great Hall, and Johnny assures you she will be taken care of. You're welcome to visit her at any time. As mentioned, the Grey Cloaks will be taking care of all of the provisions. They're already arranging for a shipment of clothes and of food stuffs that will serve these people. They will be taken care of. She will be taken care of.
I don't know what the Grey Cloaks are, but thank you for taking care of my mom.
The city guard of the Ascendant Court, where these people were found, they have offered to cover the costs of their recuperation and reintegration with Absalom. So
very generous.
Very, very nice of them.
They're taking this rather seriously. They feel a certain obligation since they failed to protect these people.
What happened? Do you know?
I don't know if I can. Well, I don't know the full story, and I don't know if I can really say. I think would be best to speak with your mother, what she's willing to share with you. But as from an official standpoint, I don't know how much I can say in regards to what transpired, but I'm sure, given time, she will be willing to tell you her story. I'm sorry, I wish I could be more help, but unfortunately, I'm just not sure what is meant to be officially released to the public and what is okay to say and what is not okay to say. This is a very unprecedented situation, especially considering we're not even in the Ascendant Court. It's a bit of a hairy situation all around.
Okay, well, I'll probably be back tomorrow to visit her.
You said your DC was 35?
Yeah.
No idea. He has no idea.
I'll probably be back tomorrow to visit her.
Okay. Please, yes, feel free.
Okay.
And you all make your leave back to the Precipice Quarter after a very long 3.5 days of slogging through that dungeon. And we are officially going to enter downtime. So right off the bat, we're just going to write off a day of downtime for everything to get sold. All of the loot, the money is distributed as we've worked off screen, but how much money is that, Jack?
Roughly 260 gold.
Yeah.
Will, in that day, if there are like items that are on our personal character sheet that we want to sell, can we have done that too, or is that separate?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It is a day to sell the stuff.
Okay.
And just do that at market value. Do that at Paizo value.
Unless there's a specific item that you are trying to haggle for more. Yes.
Cool.
So you all take the time, because it really does take a day to walk around the entire Grand Bazaar, finding shops to sell all of the various sundries that you've acquired, because even if a shop will take stuff, they will only buy a certain amount from you. Like, they're not just gonna...
Yeah. We're lugging around like 17 bulk of armor and weapons.
Yeah. Like, especially...
just by itself. And then there's all the magical stuff we were tracking before that, so...
Especially the bulk items, it's like, a shop isn't just gonna shell out for 12 sets of leather armor. It's like, they might need 2. So you've gotta go around, make your rounds to really, like, just sort through everything, to find places for some of the more obscure magical items. It's like, you know, how many people are really going to want a +1 War Razor? Like, probably only one shop, and most of the other shops won't know which shop that is, so you kind of just got to go around and ask.
It's a barber shop for giants.
Exactly. So it takes you a full day, but all of the personal things that you wanted to sell, all of the group things you wanted to sell, are sold. So you all have, again, you meet back up at the Precipice Quarter with in your apartment, and rent is due, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody, right off the bat, 4 gold for the next month.
Gross.
Per person. I know. I'm sorry I had to do it to you. I gotta play landlord. That's part of the role-playing game. 4 gold per person.
4 gold. Thank you.
4 gold per person. That gets you another month. Another month of time in the apartment.
Fair enough.
But that the 4 gold is not just rent. That's like food. That's all the random food stuff you buy throughout the time.
Utilities, of course.
Utilities. Yeah, that's you pay for your magical
Cheaper's
electricity.
pet deposit. Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it does pay for the pet deposit.
Yeah.
Even though Sheether doesn't shed, they don't care. They don't make that distinction.
It's like the scratching on the hardwood. They're gonna replace that in a year, so they're gonna deal
it's
with
for
that.
the artificial swamp that you've dug into the floorboards.
That too. Yeah, that was probably coming straight out of the security deposit.
Yeah.
So
we'll take care of that when you guys decide to cut your lease. Day 2 of downtime. We're gonna do this a little bit differently. I think I've said it before, but I like integrating various mechanics in places that it makes sense. And I've been upfront with my players about this, but this is going to be kind of a bit of an extended, nebulous amount of downtime. And so
we have no, like, since I plan on doing a lot of crafting, the amount of time does matter a little bit. Like, roughly. I know nebulous, like, you don't know exactly, but, like, are we talking 3 weeks? More than that? Like, what's...
More than a month.
More than a month. Okay.
Yeah.
well, so how would we know?
But that's the thing. You would not know that.
That's metagame. That's metagame.
So your characters are like, we just finished this thing. We took care of the cult. That was the thing we were doing, right? You got roped into the whole thing with Hendred, and then you were like, oh, he was part of a cult, a larger cult to the Skin Saw. Like, we should take care of that, and you did. And now you're just kind of like, all right, like, there were some gang members.
It's the Twilight 4 eventually, but, whatever that is.
But you don't really have much to go off of. And you don't have an immediate time thing, right? That was a big part of the Copper Hand, because you were like, they are doing a heist on this day, and we have a week to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that.
You don't have that, yeah.
So you don't know, like, your characters are kind of going into this, like, we don't have anything pressing. We just did this horrendous thing, like, that took a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, especially, I just want to point it out, especially Bastro. I don't think he's had really time to process, considering everything he's thrown in. I'm just putting that out there.
But getting your whole physical form and your identity completely ripped
Happens to everyone.
Yeah. Having a new one installed by a evil witch doctor, fine.
We take it for granted.
Go stand the shell.
Like 2 weeks of therapy and you're fine.
Yeah, we kind of take it for granted, but Bastro, that was 5 days ago.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What was that in real time? Like 3 months?
Definitely
4
several
months?
months.
4 months, yeah.
4 months in real
months.
time. Yeah.
Did that art a long time ago.
Yeah. Day 2 of downtime. We're gonna do a kind of thing from Delta Green, which is the game that I play. All of us actually play with Ben running it. We try weekly, but
don't we all?
Weekly.
Where in between operations you have home scenes. So we're going to kind of follow each character as they go about, quote unquote, their lives after this raid on the cult. Without, external impetus, what is each character doing with their newfound time? Who would like to go first?
I can definitely start because I think mine is rather unintrusive for a lot of other people's, except for the first couple days. Should we go through like basically the whole time, or do you want me to just kind of go through day 2?
So I've talked with all of you about kind of what you want to do. I think for you, we should call it a solid 2 weeks.
Okay. So the kind of when we wake up again with all this money in our pockets and all this kind of stuff, Kashak won't put his armor on in the morning like he usually does, and he'll go up to Oski with the staunching armor rune that's in the rune stone. Oski, I'm not sure if you had any plans for today, but we've been putting this off for a while, and yeah, I think it would have been pretty helpful for the Skinner. So, next time I should have it, I'd really like to have it.
What you want to staunching rune on your armor?
That would be nice. Thanks.
Yes. Anything else I can do as far as creating things for you at this moment? Any ideas?
No, I've done the math, and I think that a lot of the stuff I want to buy is perfectly within the budget, so I don't have any extra cash for formulas and the time to look for them. So I'm just gonna go buy it from the bazaar. But I appreciate your help.
That makes sense. After rereading the rules of crafting, it's kind of a stupid mechanic that makes no sense anyway. So
It doesn't seem like there's any real advantage to it. It just seems like a waste of kind of time and.
Because you spend the extra gold for the formula, but it's no cheaper really than buying the item out. Anyway, I'll put the staunching rune on for you.
Just wait
I
till
appreciate
November.
it. Thank you. I picture the runestone transfer just like you're scrolling the runestone into the item. But anyway, and then he leaves. He had wanted to take up a few purchases in the bazaar, so I imagine on the day we're selling, he's maybe asking some questions,
Sure.
figuring out, hey, do you know where I can buy this thing? Do you know where I can buy that thing? And he does want to go visit his friend loosely, Eric Kanesh, at the Storia Reliquary.
Okay.
That's right. I got friends outside of you guys. I got stuff going on. I got
believe it.
people I know.
I'll believe
And
it.
I don't want to speak for
Picture
you,
it didn't happen.
but I feel like Eric Kanesh, or Erica, as you have been asked to call them, is probably your most kindred spirit in Absalom that you've met.
I mean, strictly because they are another lizard folk, another Iruxi. That was a really big one.
Erica is also the only one who seems to have understanding of the importance of the black scale.
Right. So it's all. A lot of that was just like off the gate. I mean, Kashak doesn't really know this person. Like Kashak knows the three of his party members way better. But as we've explored a fair amount, I don't know how much he really like trusts them or likes hanging out with them. It feels a sense of more so feels it's a duty to be around them.
Mhm.
And if it were his choice, he may not, because they scare him on a pretty existential and fundamental level. So
I think Twinkletoes is the only one where you haven't
being the
outright,
exception.
outright been like, there is something wrong with them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had that discussion before. He definitely likes Twinkletoes, and he definitely likes being around her. And he would like take. I think in Kashak's perfect world, he would take Twinkletoes away from these two horrible monsters, and we would like do our own thing. But that's.
I'll take you away from this. I'll get you out of here.
He's fixing his relationship with Oski, and it seems like we lost Ben for a bit, unfortunately. He's fixing his relationship with Oski, I think, just through camaraderie of battle. But I think Bastro is just like, it's really new for him, and he's still so far removed from like your lifestyle now and what that means. And he's kind of waiting for you to like figure it out before he really gets back involved, because he's very scared. Anyway,
Absolutely. So, you head over to Historia Reliquary.
yeah.
The shop that Eric Kanesh owns and operates. Once more, you make your way to the lovely tent setup that they have procured. And let me actually see. First of all, you open up the flap. Eric Kanesh sees you as they are setting up for the day. You can tell that they are like taking out, they're still in the process of pulling out items from various lock boxes and chests and setting them up on display tables and shelves. They see you and they say, Kashak, it is good to see you again. Please, come in. What can I help you out with today?
Hello, Erica. It's. I can't tell you how very nice it is to see you again. It's been a struggle of the past few days. I am here. I do want to take care of some business first. I heard some people in the shop that I was selling some items for talk about something called a storm arrow, and I thought I might be able to procure maybe a couple of those. How much would you? Do you happen to carry those? And I really don't know how much they're worth. So perhaps we could talk about that.
Allow me to search my ledger. And you watch as they just like begin searching through various books and an assortment of their chests, and you see that they pull out a quiver, and they just keep reaching hands in, pulling out arrows. No, pulling out arrows. No, and it's like the arrows aren't themselves sticking out of the quiver. It's like there's a quiver. It seems empty, but they reach their hand in and keep pulling out arrows, like that clown trick where they just pull out scarves from the sleeves and it just doesn't stop. Same kind of deal. And finally, they pull out two beautiful arrows that seem to be made of perfectly polished copper. You can see the glint even off of the dim candlelight, this like very bright glint as the arrows are waved and pulled out in front of them. Yes, storm arrows. Very nice, very nice. Very pricey. Unfortunately, they are difficult to get and quite powerful to boot.
Oh, well, how much would you be charging for them? I have gold. I just have a budget. I was hoping to keep.
I have 2 on me.
Yes.
I could get more if you were of need, but it would take some time. These things are a bit of a case-by-case basis. You see arrows of this power.
Of course.
And you see Erica like flicks it with a claw, and just like a bolt of electricity strikes into the ground at their feet. Yes, for 2 of them. For you, Kashak, my friend, I could do 220 gold.
Erica, that is a generous offer, but as I mentioned, with the other items I'm hoping to procure, I think that's still steep. I'm happy to just receive 1 for whatever value you want to say, 110, 120, 130, whatever it is.
And you see that their brow furrows, they begin to cross back and forth in the ledger. 1 for 115.
A generous offer again. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, please.
Was
Go
there
ahead.
anything else that you...
I could use another set of 100 regular arrows if you happen to have that.
Oh, of course. And they just pull out a regular quiver with actually 5 regular quivers filled to the brim with arrows, and lay them on the desk next to the storm arrow. Of course.
I've been searching for things, items, relics from Varesia that you asked for. I have yet to find anything. This place seems hard to track something down from. Is it a remote location? Is it distant?
The thing about Varesia and Absalom is that if a Varesian artifact makes it to Absalom, it is either traded and sold away in the marketplace or kept in one of the schools or one of the many magic schools or one of the keeps of the nobles. It's just hard to find them lying around, which is why I ask if to keep your eye out.
I still
Valyria
will. Yes,
itself,
but
isn't the farthest from the Isles of Kortos, but it is just a fascination of mine. The sights of an ancient empire, a multitude of peoples, just many interesting peoples, many interesting cultures, and many interesting items seem to make their way out of Varisia, and I hope to one day be able to have them make their way into my possession. But alas, it is difficult to come across Varisian artifacts in Absalom that aren't already spoken for.
yes, but as I mentioned, I will continue to keep my eyes out. Anything in particular, or just anything that happens to hail from Varisha.
Have you heard of ancient Thassalon?
Thassalon? No, I never have.
Well, this was the ancient empire that I spoke of, that spanned the entirety of the continent and more, ruled by powerful mages, wizards of ill repute and unrivaled power. So much so that I hear a few of them may still be kicking around to this day. Rumors and such, as you know, but still, the lure of the ancient sin magic still exists. If you come across anything of Thessalonian origin, well, I would pay quite a hefty price for it.
I will certainly do that. Is it the kind of thing I could ask around about, or should I be pretty discreet?
You may ask about it, but you'll find many incorrect answers. No, this is one of those things where you'll know it when you see it. Just
All right.
look for the Sahedron, and you may find something I'd be willing to buy.
All right, then.
By the way, I hate to make such an awkward personal request, but
Okay.
you haven't happened to have come across No, sorry, never mind, I just had this strange figurine show up in my shop not too long ago, but... Well, never mind, don't just...
What sort of figurine? What did it look like?
You know what, Kashak, just don't worry about it. I'm sure somebody just left something and they came back for it and got it. It's fine. But yes, keep an eye out for anything of Thassalon, any Sahedron runes you might find, any sin magic of lust or envy or really any of them. And I will take it off your hand for quite a fair price.
This Sahedron? Would you be able to show me a depiction?
And they draw a 7-pointed star enclosed in a circle, and at the point of each star there seems to be a symbol. Each point has a different symbol, and he points to one and says, "This is the symbol of greed," and it appears to be an outstretched palm, and he continues around the circle. This is the Sahedron rune. The 7-pointed star, sometimes with symbols, sometimes without, but always 7 points. If you find anything that bears this insignia and it looks to be of ancient age, please bring it back.
Of course. And he turns to, he kind of says his goodbye, and he starts to leave, and he kind of gets through the flap of the tent a little bit, turns back around. Erica, I mentioned to you when we first met that it was unusual for me to find someone of my ancestry, and someone who looks like me in whatever capacity. I hope that we could forge some kind of trust between the two of us, and well, Iruxi and this far away of Mwangi Expanse should stick together, right?
I should have clarified, have you been having this conversation in Iruxi this whole time?
That's a fair question. I would imagine it would be.
Then, yeah, I mean, absolutely says Kashak. Excuse me, they say Kashak. I hold you in the highest regard. But I do assure you there are at least a dozen of us in Absalom.
Well, I hope to find them, for sure, but if there's anything that you need, here's where you can find me. And he draws a really horrible map from where we currently are in the Story of Reliquary to our apartment. He can't write the address, so he just draws like this really, really garbage map.
Okay.
You can find me. You are my
You're
friend.
no Danicus, but
No Danicus by any means. The famous cartographer Danicus. And if there's anything you'd like to discuss, perhaps about, I don't know, strange figurines or anything else, you can come find me and we can discuss.
Okay. Yes, I appreciate that. And as always, you may find me here if there's anything you need to aid in your exploits.
Thank you. I will do so. May the light of the gold scale shine on you brightly.
And with a twinkle in their eye, they look up to you and just say, Gold scale? Gold scale indeed, then. As they bid you farewell. You exit the finely appointed iridescent blue and green tent that makes up Historia Reliquary. You continue about your time purchasing any other various sundries that you need.
Yeah. Just so you are aware, I wanted to buy a Hosteling statuette, which is an 80 gold item that is basically an animal companion Pokeball.
Love that. You know how much I love that chat.
Yep. Ben knows what's up. It is a item that I can spend 2 actions to. It's carved to look like Sheethra. Like it's carved to look like the animal that you're putting into it.
Yeah.
And so, she would wear it around her neck, and I would spend 2 actions to put her in it, and I could carry it around like a gem or like a little token, and then I would like toss it and spend 2 actions, and then she would come out of it.
Absolutely. So you find a little shop called the Kitten Slumber, and it is a veritable menagerie of familiars of all shapes and sizes, as well as animal companions. And sitting outside is a hawker who, when he sees you and Sheethra walking up, he says, Hey, my buddy, my pal, I got a little thing for you right here. And you can see in front of him, he's like one of those, like carnival portrait drawers where they do like the cartoon portraits. Caricature drawer, yeah.
Yep.
But you just see like a pile of stone dust around him. And he's got like a little stand and a chisel and a hammer. He says, Hey, my friend, I see you got a nice lizard there. Wouldn't it be nice if you could pack that little lizard up into a statue and be on your way without having to worry about them being able to fit through certain situations? It's a pretty big lizard. You're a pretty big lizard, but she's a bigger lizard, right? You could use a little bit of a compression factor, if you will. Let me make you a perfect rendition in soapstone of your friend here. And so you sit down, you both pose, and you just watch as he chisels away.
Yeah, Kashak and Sheath are looking at each other, and Kashak is like, "That is exactly why I came in this store. I don't know how you knew that, but this is the specific reason that I'm here."
And he like chisels a little statue, and he says, "For you, my friend, for you, I would let this go for, I can't believe I'm saying this, 80 gold. I couldn't. My grandmother, she'd be ashamed of me if she heard that. 80 gold for you."
It's a significant discount from the price listed on the Archives of Nathis, which is 80 gold. So I do
Archives of
appreciate
Nethys
it.
never heard of her. All right, this is a primo discount on a truly quality product. 80 gold.
It is very well crafted. It does look Sheether. It's got your little nose and then the little scar on the back of your
And you can
left
see,
ear.
like, instead of a
That's nice.
left eye, it's just like a jagged gash in the soapstone where he obviously made a mistake. It's like 80
It's
gold.
horrible.
80 gold. All right, it's the best I can do. I'm losing money out here giving you 80 gold for this. I mean, you wouldn't even know what this chisel cost. More than 80
Listen,
gold, I'll tell you that.
Friend, it is bought and paid for. I appreciate it. And he pulls a couple platinum and most of the rest of the gold. 80
All right.
gold to the man.
Yeah, very good. Any other big ticket before we move on?
Yeah, one last thing. It's the next big purchase. Goggles of Night.
Goggles of Night.
Opaque,
Does this give
the
you dark vision?
Right.
opaque crystal lenses of these sleek goggles. While wearing them, I get a +1 item bonus to perception checks involving sight, which is bananas already. I'd pay 150 gold for that already. But once per day, I can interact to get dark vision for an hour.
Just the regular, not the greater.
Just the regular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to drop
You don't
1250
have
gold. on
1,250
this.
gold
Yeah.
to... Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure. Yeah, I mean, you're able to find those relatively easily. You can see that there is a little stand that is set up with... it's a sunglasses stand where
Yep.
they've just got racks and racks of various glasses and sunglasses of various magical enchantments. You describe what you want. He pulls out this, big, heavy set man, completely bald, but he's got massive mutton chops that just hang out to his shoulders. And he's just like, yeah, I got goggles. I got goggles of all kinds. And you go through the list, you describe what he wants, and he pulls them off. He just, slaps them on your head, pulls up a mirror, says, "Looks perfect, my friend. Looks perfect." Holds it in front of you.
And Kashak has an alligator head, so he doesn't have 1, ears, or 2, like a back of his head that is lined up with his eyes. And so he's got the eyes that kind of sit on the top of his head, so they go there, and then it goes at a 45-degree angle kind of around the back of his neck. And they kind of bug out a little bit. He looks
I
like a
love
little
that so
insect.
much.
He's
He's just kind of moving around. He's like, I don't know.
He's like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. They're not made for Iruxi of your quality. They're made for us simple humanoid folks with ears. But with just a simple little, if you know just how to do a little bit of leather work, all right, you can fix the strap. It'll be fine. It'll be all right.
I've got a guy who can fix that.
The lenses, they do the thing you want. That's the important part. That's why I craft them. Who cares about the fit, right? All right, you just look through the lens, you see the thing that you want to see. All right.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And so you walk away with a brand new, slightly ill-fitting pair of goggles of night.
Amazing. Wonderful. That's all I wanted. That's the whole haul.
And so your day 2 comes to an end. Day 3 / X amount of time. What is it that you were doing?
I think that it's pretty guaranteed that you would finish the staunching rune there, Oski, right?
I intend to spend day 2 doing the staunching rune transfer.
Roll
it takes
a
1
craft
day
check
to
for
do
me.
as much. Already did, and I got a 32.
That's more than enough, yeah. So you successfully transfer the rune.
Boom! It's
Kashad
yours.
comes
staunching.
back, receives said armor on night of day 2 and morning of day 3.
He
Kashad.
wakes up and again, before donning his armor, he kind of looks at Sheethra for a little bit, and she still seems extremely, extremely agitated. And I think that he attributed a lot of it to being underground, being in the city, being just like trapped a little bit, and then he's just kind of seeing how unhappy she is. And I think he starts to kind of think about it a little bit and realizes that he's feeling a lot of the same stuff. Like, it's like, we're not meant to be here. We've been trying our best to acclimate to this place, but we really just need to take a break. And I think he goes to wherever Twinkletoes is. I assume she's in her what's it called? Is it the hideout or the base, home base?
My favorite.
Safe house. He'll like knock on your door, and if you answer, he'll say, "Twinkletoes, I have something I'd like to talk to you about a little bit. If you have some time."
Sure, you want to take a walk?
That'd be great, actually. Yeah, let's go. Let's take a walk. Can she? She's got a leash. She's all good.
She's leash trained.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know if we need the leash, but
Oh, that's good. She hates the leash, and he tosses the leash in the corner.
She's off leash trained.
Twinkletoes, I'm concerned for Sheethra's well-being in the city and with everything that's happened. I'm concerned for my own as well, and mostly, missing the great outdoors. So I think that while there's not currently a mission pressing on us or something important to do tomorrow, we might take a little bit of time to go into the natural world and, what is it you all call it? Go camping for a bit. That's the word?
hiking, camping, whichever.
Do a fair amount of hiking. Just
Glamping, if you want to get fancy with it.
taking some time for ourselves. I'll tell you where we're gonna go, and I'll probably be back in the city every once in a while, but I think Sheethra and I need to spend some time together getting used to each other still in an environment that both of us understand.
So like outside of city walls, or like over in Eastgate, or
Pretty far outside of the city.
wow. Okay.
I'll
gonna
find
be
a
okay?
place where we're gonna be just fine. We are both pretty experienced with this. I think it should be just fine. I'll come find you if anything goes wrong, and once I get a place we can settle down for, I can tell you where it is, and just come find me when you need me.
Okay.
And after about a little bit of this conversation, you may kind of perk up and realize that he has been walking you to the gates of the city and is like leaving now.
Okay, bye.
I'll see you very soon. Come find me whenever it is that you need me. Safe travels, Twinkletoes. Yeah, he'll bend down and he'll give you a hug, like a real hug. I hope that your rekindling of your relationship with your mother is everything that you're looking for.
Thanks.
You're going out
Yeah,
east gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually scout out some places. So, okay. Be safe. Don't fight anything that's a ton bigger than you without us.
For sure.
Alright.
See you later, Twinkletoes. Goodbye.
Bye.
Kashak strides on the next to Sheethra out of the gate and is going to take some time to be one with nature for him for a little bit.
Absolutely. So, I need you to roll me a survival check.
Okay.
To figure out where to go in relation to what would be best for Sheethra and your closest approximation
Okay.
of a natural environment.
Can Shithra influence this check at all? Because very low key, her survival check is better than mine.
Absolutely. She can roll to assist you on this.
You as a ranger?
Yeah, I am only trained. She is an expert.
Oh, wow.
She can roll to assist you, but you are still driving the boat.
All right, I will roll to aid with Shithra, and I will roll to actually hit it with Kashak.
Hit it.
Shithra rolls to aid with a 28, and that makes Kashak's check a 31.
Very nice.
Oh.
So you are traveling a fair distance. Maybe you picked up a map of the Isle of Kortos, but Absalom sits at the southern extremity of a football-shaped island. If you imagine a horizontal football, Absalom is at the southern middle section of it. And you're heading east into the Cairnlands. And you realize this is probably not, because as you go farther, it becomes more and more desert-like.
Mm-hmm.
And you also begin to realize that as you make your way into the Cairnlands, you're getting closer and closer to... There's just this feeling of malice, this feeling of death that pervades the land as you get about 15, 20 miles out to the east. So this takes a couple of days. And you're like, this sucks. You're not really sure what's going on here, but you begin to turn to the north and then to the northwest. And eventually you get into the Iman Woods, which is this bright, beautiful forest lands. Maybe not quite the jungles of the Moangi Expanse that you're used to, but lush and full of life, full of natural energy, which is what you're looking for.
Hell yeah, bro.
So it takes you 2.5, 3 days after you kind of turn to get to the Imanwood. And you eventually find a nice little glade to set up camp next to a river whose name doesn't appear to be on any maps that I can find on Google. But it's there. There's a river there.
If you say so.
So, you find this glade, and you begin to set up, and you begin to just coexist with Shithra. You begin to hunt in the Iman Woods. You set up a small camp, a semi-permanent shelter for both you and she, and you begin to deepen the bond between you and Shithra, because again, I want to impress upon you the limited amount of time that has actually passed in game.
Mm-hmm.
Kashak, you met Shithra a week and a half ago.
Yeah. He doesn't really know this creature, and he's had this innate understanding of her, and a really kind of kinship, but she has also gone through a lot of change and a lot of both metaphorical and physical growth.
Yes.
In that time. Like, she is almost a different creature than he rescued from Hendred Pratchett.
Absolutely.
Such that, like, without taking the time to really get to know her a little bit, it's gonna be really, it's like having a pet that you only interact with like 2 hours out of the day. It's like, you don't know that animal, you don't know that creature at all. Like, it's just a different thing.
And so you begin to build this relationship, and as you do so, you begin to forego a bit of your martial training. You begin to change your style of combat. As you deepen your relationship with Shithra, you begin to run drills You begin to set up training exercises. You make little dummies of sticks and straw, and you begin to key in code words for your commands. You begin to set up a kind of stratagem to use going forward if you ever face danger of how you want to interact. But you forego a bit of your bow training in favor of working in tandem with Shithra, because as you realize, to make effective use of Shithra in battle, you need to spend a little more focus, a little more effort on her than you would your bow. And while you don't lose any of your proficiency with the bow, you realize that not all of your tactics with the bow work well with Shithra. And now that you have a partner, you need to change how you act in battle. And so you spend the next week retraining your Hunter's Mark?
Hunter's Aim.
Hunter's Aim.
Yo, what?
Into the Companion's Cry
cool.
feat.
Yeah, Hunter's Aim was the ability that was giving me a +2 circumstance bonus to the attack roll and ignoring the concealed condition. With Blind Fight, I don't care about concealed conditions at all, so that made this ability really kind of bad. An extra action for a +2 is not really great. Companion's Cry, however, if I spend 2 actions commanding Shithra, I can give her an extra action.
Oh.
And so I still only have
3.
I still only have 4 actions, so like I would spend 1 action doing something and then 2 actions commanding, and then she would have 3 actions. Exactly right. Because there's been a lot of situations where it's like, Kashak can't do much, so I'll just run around. But Shithra's already in there, so if she can strike again or move to a better situation or prepare to aid on flanking or something like that, it's really good. So
it gives you the flexibility to decide whether or not you want to spend 1 action or 2 actions, and whether or not Kashak wants to do 2 actions or 3 actions. It gives you flexibility.
And strictly mechanically, Kashak's got too many friggin' actions. He's just got too much different stuff I can do and too much stuff I need to do to set up properly that I don't have the time to spend a second action for a +2 on a roll. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So you spend this time in the woods not only training, right, in a strictly martial sense. You are a martially minded person. You were raised in this
he's a captain. He's a ranging captain.
You were raised and trained in the tradition of your people to defend your family, and you are bringing Shithra into this. But you also you're not spending just time on that. You're spending time on finding out the idiosyncrasies of your companion. You spend time learning more about them. You figure out which type of fish Shithra prefers on the Isle of Kortos. You learn that she's allergic to certain plants. You get these small details of interacting in a day-to-day style that you haven't experienced in months. Just existing in nature with your companion that has been absent for so long. This takes you about 2 weeks to finish your retraining after getting out here, finding the right spot, setting up, getting a lay of the land, and then beginning your retraining. It takes you about 2 weeks. And that is where we're going to end it for this week. And we'll see you next week to figure out what everyone else is doing with their time. Here on the Heroes of Absalom Pathfinder 2nd Edition campaign, brought to you by 3 Kobolds Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next week.
See y'all soon.